Happy Friday, America, and happy May 3rd. May the 4th be with you tomorrow. I'm looking forward to the weekend. I'll be out in Kansas City. It's going to be fantastic. We're coming into one of my favorite months. We got Memorial Day coming up, all the great things. But right now, the weekend starts right here on the Discussion Combustion Production YouTube channel with Happy Friday. My name is Kevin Batstone. I'll be pushing some buttons and trying not to mess up these levels. And of course, joining me across the table is Arthur. It's time to party with Artie Rawe.
Oh, yeah, and I've heard that before. Welcome into a fantastic Friday. We got an awesome show planned this week. What we got to start us off, Kev?
Oh, well, we got some Today in History for this May 3rd, 2024. What happened?
So I had to put this one in. 1802, Washington, D.C. is incorporated as a city. Happy Friday, America, and happy Capitol as well. 1923, this one, hey, all the aviation fans out there, there's some cool museums, too. If you've never been to an aviation museum, you should check one out sometime because they're super cool. But the first nonstop North American transcontinental flight flies from New York to San Diego, and that flight is completed. 1923, I forget when the first airplane, when the Wright brothers.
It was the Wright brothers. I want to say it was 1917. No, I think the first flight took somewhere around 1909, 1910. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah, it wasn't that far off. So, within probably 15 years after the plane was invented, they were able to fly it across the United States, which is pretty cool.
That's quite a bit of innovation.
It is. In Nuke news, no big bombs going off here, and actually declarations of decreasing nukes from both the United States and the USSR. So, in 1983, the Soviet leader Yuri Andropov decreases nuclear weapons in Europe. And then the same day in 1983, U.S. bishop condemns nuclear weapons.
Wow.
Big one. Sticking on with the Russians, 1997, Russian chess grandmaster Garry Kasparov begins chess match with IBM supercomputer Deep Blue. I remember all the hype around this growing up as a kid. Question is, did he win? We're going to leave the answer in the comments below.
I have my guess, but I'm not going to say it.
Yeah. I mean, I wrote it there. I did write it there.
Yep.
And then this one, I mean, come on, man. If you're a Marvel fan, everybody loves Spider-Man. Even if you're not a Marvel fan, you're going to love Spider-Man. And Spider-Man starring Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker. That came out in 2002 on this day in history.
That's a juicy day in history. Keeping it moving on, the Justice Department came out earlier this week on Tuesday. This is kind of a big victory for the 420 cannabis world. And I agree with this movement. I have my, opinions and positions on marijuana. But one I agree with this, and that's rescheduling it on the federal level, Art. Because this thing has been basically in the same category as methamphetamines, cocaine, and heroin for all my life and beyond. Mm-hmm. So now they're going to move it to a Schedule 3, which is going to align more with the ketamine, Tylenol, and codeine level. And what this is going to do, it still doesn't federally legalize marijuana, right? That's still going to be a state-by-state basis, but it's certainly going to help on the ballot to federal legalization because once we reach a two-thirds majority, 66.6% of the states have some sort of rec marijuana. It's basically federally legal at that point. Mm-hmm. So this is going to open up for some more medical research, which definitely needs to be done. I do think there needs to be some regulations on cannabis itself and the production of it. We've seen these edibles and these things that are being made now, the plants, we need to make sure they're not being sprayed with the chemicals
and stuff. What's in that oil in that vape? Who knows?
Yeah, because it's a big win for the 420, but it doesn't mean I still don't want to see people just stoned all day long, all day strong. In my opinion, I think it's something you do after work, like when you go home for your evening cocktail. And I think anytime that marijuana gets a big win, this doesn't mean you go driving around smoking a blunt in your car and things of that nature. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, marijuana is not as harmful as some of the other drugs that it was previously classed with, and that always felt like a misclassification of that substance. I believe all the big, why was it such a big thing that they were going after for so long? I think it was because the hemp industry was going to compete with cotton and all this other stuff, and who knows, man? But I'm happy to see this movement in this direction.
Yep, definitely. We'll see. It's going to take a couple months for this to go into effect, but it's definitely, they're taking the steps to do it, and it just so happens to be during an election year. Oh, by the way. Moving on, we got some AI stuff.
Yep, another area where we could use some regulation here. So a Baltimore area teacher is accused of using AI to make his boss appear racist. So what they did here is they took like some voice clips and some noise bits, and they put those into one of these AI chat things. And we all know, we've played with them. It's like, $3 to $5. You could get access to basically making like Donald Trump say something, or all these different people say something. But this person was not Taylor Swift. They weren't a president of the United States. This is just the principal of a school.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah. So what's the motive behind all this? Why is this guy trying to slander the principal? Well, apparently, the person who is accused here, he was accused and also taken in for theft, misusing school funds, stalking, distribution of school operations, and related, like all this different stuff. So he was doing multiple things. He was trying to slander the principal, and the FBI actually even is like involved in some of this stuff for some reason, and they're like analyzing it, and they determined that the voice recordings were not genuine. And what this take is that there's really no regulation around this stuff, and you can really like do these deep fakes and be malicious for just a couple bucks, and you could almost like sideline someone's career. It's crazy.
It's concerning where it's going. I mean, we've seen like the apps you mentioned. It's fun to play around with and goof off with your friends. But I was watching a clip of like LeBron James after the Denver Nuggets here eliminated the Lakers, and it looked like it was a legit press conference, and he was saying all this shit like, oh yeah, apparently the refs didn't like the tips that we gave him. We tried to pay him off, and it's like I'm sitting here watching. I'm like, is he actually saying this shit? And it's like we're just scraping the surface on what this can do. Obviously not a good situation here, and it's just a sign of what's to come. I feel like, and what's possible. They could take our voices now. There's so many clips.
Oh yeah,
and make us say shit we never said. It's concerning.
Yep. So just another example to why, unless if you can see it and touch it and tangible, like you're actually seeing it in real life, I don't know. I wouldn't trust anything online.
No.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, you have to, because everything's easily manipulated now, and we've been seeing clickbait for years. This is like clickbait on roids, because it's just concerning. But that's the way the world turns. So in South Carolina, it's my random records time. This is kind of a fun one. It was a miniature horse that has the record now for the longest tail on a horse. Even though it was a miniature horse. Still,
all horses, even like normal size horses?
Oh, yeah.
It has the longest tail?
This thing's 5 feet, almost 6 feet, 5 feet, 11.26 inches of a tail on a miniature horse. So if you scroll down and click the link in there, you see a picture of this little horse, which we'll look at when we're done. And he started growing this thing out. Its name is Sweetie, the miniature horse. That's kind of a fun name. I like when people name their horses fun names like that. But started growing this tail in around 2012.
Okay.
So that's about 12 years of growth on this.
So it's like the horse hair.
Tail.
It's like horse hair. And so the actual tail is not the longest tail. It's more like the hair on the tail.
Yeah, like the guy with the longest fingernails who carries them around in a bag. They're like they're like 3.5 feet long.
Why would you want to like disable yourself from using your hands?
Well, once your nails get that long, there's like veins and shit in them. You can't just clip them anymore. They have to be surgically removed.
Oh, there's really?
Yeah, when your nails get like crazy long like that, you can't just go chopping them off without risk of, like a dog
bleeding
has the what's that thing called, the quick. In a dog's nail, like if you cut it too short, it'll bleed.
Yeah.
Essentially what happens to the human fingernails. But as far as the horse hair is concerned, this isn't really my area of expertise, but still, almost 6 foot tail on a mini horse. Even on a 17 hand high horse, as they say.
17 hand high?
Yeah, they measured the hands, 14 hands, whatever.
Okay. It's about one dishwasher.
Oh, 14 hands?
Well, people like to measure things by like a laundry machine or something.
I think it's bigger than a dishwasher.
It's like a.
Because it's measured from the ground to its belly, I believe.
It's like a desk unit.
I still think it's bigger than that. Think about how high a horse would stand. That's big. That's bigger, unless it's a stackable washer and dryer, and that's how you're measuring the horse.
Yeah.
So it's a stackable washer and dryer high horse.
Yeah.
with a 5 foot tail.
Yeah. I mean, it's just fun having like those random. Oh yeah, that's about like 3 ferns wide.
Yeah.
Like just some random, like what the hell is that even?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I like those good old kind of country sayings and phrases like "I'll be there in 3 shakes of a lamb's tail." That's kind of fun.
Or we're just kicking up some dust with the dogs.
Kicking up some dust with the dogs. Or, maybe your mini horse has a stackable washer and dryer high horse with a mini tail. Or with a mega tail.
So what are they doing with that tail? Is this horse major at slapping flies out of the air? It's like whoosh, whoosh.
I just think he knows it's a part of him. He's just dragging it behind him.
Whip ready, whipping these flies.
Just dragging this thing right. It probably steps on it at times. Like if it goes for a quick directional change, it's like stepping on its own tail.
And it's so many. Why would they do that to the smallest horse in the world?
I don't know, but definitely go down, take a look at the mini horse with the long tail.
It's probably not the smallest in the world.
It's the record holder now, and this thing is going to eclipse 6 feet in length here quite soon. And that's my random record. Moving on to the Would You Rather segment. Be sure to get involved with that. The polls go up on Twitter X every Friday morning. That's going to be at HappyFryUSA, or just drop a comment down below if the comments are on.
Thank you for everyone's participation.
Yes, thank you for the participation. Nice. It's been a lot of fun. So last week we asked the viewers, Art.
Basically, do you want to be the villain or the superhero?
Yeah, essentially.
It's kind of like that.
Yeah, something like that. So we asked, would you rather be Tony Soprano or Bruce Wayne? I, of course, went with Tony Soprano. You went with Bruce Wayne. The majority of America is with Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
80% of America went with Bruce Wayne on this. 20% rocking Tony Soprano.
Because Bruce is catching Soprano.
I mean, I get it.
That's how it's going to go down.
But we went through this a few weeks ago or a few months ago with the Wolves. What was it? Was it Wolves and Beavers? Or no, it was Coyote versus Beaver.
Yeah.
And they both have strengths and weaknesses in areas, right? Tony's still badass.
At least Tony gets to use guns.
Tony has lethal force, and he has a lot of reinforcements, right? And a lot of backup, and, he can make people disappear without even being there. So, I don't know. But in America, you decide Bruce Wayne. We're moving on. What do we got this week, Art?
This week's Would You Rather, we are going to cover it like this. Would you rather be a bench warmer on a championship team? So your team's, world champion, but you didn't participate in the game. Or would you rather be the star player of a team that makes the playoffs maybe, but you're the star player of that team?
Yeah.
Which one are you going to choose?
Well, I'm going to take the bench, and get those 6 rings that New England has, just hanging out on the bench, help out where I can, be on the practice squad. But you look at, because those guys are still getting compensated. They get minimum pay, which is still significant, and you get a championship ring, which is fantastic. On the contrary to that, if you want the money, these stars on these shitty teams, like the Colorado Rockies are one of the worst teams in baseball right now, if not the worst behind Chicago White Sox. And there's guys, Blackman and all these guys in the Rockies making buku bucks, and the Rockies are going to go down as the worst team. So
how much are they making?
In the 30s to 40 million a year.
Really?
Yeah. And they're
and they're not performing.
The team as a whole is dog shit. I mean, they have good talent on the team. Charlie Blackman and these guys are good baseball players, but they're making buku bucks on a team that's only won 7 games into the season. So I'm taking the bench warmer overall.
Yeah, I'm taking the bench too, and that's because I would rather be part of something bigger, right, and contributing to that than needing to be in the spotlight.
That's fair.
And being part of that bigger, greater success. So that's my reasoning for warming the bench, being a champion on the bench. Ain't nobody gonna sit on that bench like I sat on that bench. I might actually just stand right next to the bench.
You are a first ballot Hall of Fame bench sitter.
Ooh yeah, baby. Let me get those cheeks primed. And what are you gonna pick? Are you sitting on the bench, championship, or are you gonna be the star player of a team that maybe makes the playoffs?
Let us know, America. I'm curious to see. This might go 50-50, I feel like. This might be a close one. But we'll see. Results will come next week, of course. All right, moving on. We're talking Antarctica now. This is kind of a fun article that I found, and it was super long, so I kind of just highlighted some of the bullet points here for the show.
Okay.
But I would encourage folks to read about this. There's a lot going on in Antarctica, and a lot of which, is hard. It's a very tough part of the world to explore when you think about it, right? It's very difficult to get to, and everything's ice. So there's really not a lot of opportunities to get boots on the ground and to go see this. There's a volcano down here in the mountain terrains of Mount Erebus. I guess Erebus is goes back to Greek mythology.
Okay.
The name where they got this thing from. But in any case, it is spewing out crystals of gold worth $6,000 every single day. So when this thing erupts, this molten lava and this dust that's shooting out from the earth, there's a lot of gold. The gold flakes in the air. If you could find a way to capture all of that, right? That's the hard part, is capturing all that gold dust out of the air. It's worth $6,000 a day. I mean, but you'd have to have quite the operation to pull that off, I think.
Yeah. I mean, How would you go about capturing? So it's not like nuggets of gold. It's gold dust.
It's gold dust, but a lot of
Okay.
it. But a lot of it. I mean, it's around 80 grams per day. 80 grams of gold dust.
And now, is gold magnetic?
I don't believe so. I mean, when people use their, I don't think it's magnetic, but you like on a metal detector, it would beep. That's what people are doing on the beach, and they're looking for shit. I think it would beep on there. And then folks here in the Colorado Rockies will go up on the rivers, like where the river curves. That's where they'll sift through. They'll get the little sifter, because all that gold dust will collect on the river banks, and that's one opportunity to do it there. But out here, I just don't see how you're going to be able to go out there and collect it. But that doesn't change the fact that it's emitting 80 grams of gold dust into the air every day.
Well, I mean, I just think it's cool, right? Because you think about how all the like minerals, everything is formed, all the precious metals. I'm thinking about the thing. What is it called again? It's the chart that shows every single mineral, every.
The table of contents?
No, it has like every chemical, every single thing on it.
The periodic table of elements?
Yes.
A table of contents. What was this, a book?
This is a book on elements.
It's a book on elements.
But
and gold dust.
No, but I think that's cool. But how everything's formed inside of the earth, and then like it's coming out of the earth, and the fire and ice thing. You know, I just think it's cool.
It is,
and it just shows you that this world is truly filled with wonders.
It really is amazing, and it says it sprinkles out in the surrounding area of up to 621 miles.
Okay.
Of because it gets caught in the atmosphere, the wind takes it, whatever, and it's going out up to that far. So good luck trying to round up all that gold dust.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is for people centuries from now to have fun with, I think.
Yeah, good luck on your gold dust chasing. What do we got next, Art?
What we got next, and Cambodia, first of all, what continent is that part of? If you said South America, you're wrong. It's in South Asia, and Cambodia.
It's near Vietnam.
Yeah, it's near Vietnam. Yeah. So Cambodian villagers.
You said South America.
They are racing ox carts, and they're doing this in traditions. This tradition has went back hundreds of years to celebrate like the end of the rice season. It's like a new year in April that they've been celebrating, and they want to continue to celebrate this. So about 46 different pairs of oxes all get together with their carts, and they start racing in these open fields.
That's terrific.
And they want to keep this tradition alive. With modernization and all this other stuff, and industrialization obviously has been around for a long time, but they're concerned that like some of these fields might get taken away. And these are like traditional fields where they would race these oxes for centuries. So they want to preserve these fields. And so the headline for this one is our version of Formula One. And I give them props. Thousands of people went out to witness this thing. It's a sweltering hot day. And that's something that I would actually like to experience at one point in my life. Or you think about like the Mongolian traditions with the horses, and it'd be cool to go travel to another country and go witness some of these like time-old traditions and experience that firsthand and see what that all feels like. Because on the outside looking in, it's like, they're just, doing ox racing, no big deal. But once you actually get your feet on the ground there and you experience the culture and the energy that comes with these type of events, I think you're going to understand why they want to keep it around.
Absolutely. Look, I love cultures that have any sort of racing involved with it, whether it's ox, whatever you're racing. I think it's fantastic. America's obviously NASCAR is very much part of our culture. F1's very European, of course. And Cambodia is hot as hell. Mm-hmm. It gets super hot there. They got the Mekong River that runs through there. Free plug for Amazon Prime's The Grand Tour. Jeremy Clarkson, James May, and Richard Hammond go down the Mekong on these boats and river boats, and it's a phenomenal episode. I don't know if you had a chance to see it. Mm-hmm. But that's where I learned a lot about Cambodia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching not Tim Hortons, Vietnam like documentary. Was it Tim Horton?
It might be. I don't know.
I forget who made it, but man, what a brutal war that was.
Oh yeah.
But these guys are warring it out. And keeping this tradition alive. They got the headgear on, they got masks, they're all colorful, it's loud, and it's a great time.
Hell yeah.
Some of these guys that are not piloting, but captain of these carts, I guess.
Yeah.
They're, in their they're in
carts.
these mid-40s and stuff. So it's like they're really trying to keep this tradition alive, man. I think it's awesome.
The cart captains have to wrangle this thing around a .62 mile dirt track, which I like. I'd be curious to see if it's an oval or if they were able to cut out, because they're saying if it's like F1, it's probably going to be a road course style, which isn't very big on a .62 mile track. So I'm thinking it's probably got like a couple quick little bends in it, and then it's back around to the start-finish line.
Yeah, it's probably going to be. I mean, however they made it centuries ago, I think they're like trying to keep the traditional, like the actual traditional racetrack.
All right. That's good stuff. Anything about racing gets me excited. And this is kind of a crazy story right here. There was a child that was telling her mother that there was monsters in the wall, just like any kid would, right? There's monsters in my closet. There's monsters in the wall. And the mom's like, oh, no, you're not hearing anything. Don't worry about it. And finally, as time went on, she started to look into this thing a little bit and was able to hear some noises, like put her ear up to the wall and was like, what's going on in there? There is something in there. So they, have some inspectors come over and they start peeling this wall back to find a bee's nest.
Okay.
That had this massive bee's nest that they had cultivated over some time. Over 50,000 bees.
Wow.
Were right behind that drywall, a couple feet from where the kid was sleeping.
Yeah.
Just in there. They probably had a great entry and exit point. It's probably an older house and was able to get in on the siding or something and get in through the walls and, and build this massive hive. Because there's 50,000 bees. That takes time.
Yeah.
For them to really build this massive
That's a
nest.
huge hive.
But can you imagine you sleeping there, and there's just a massive amount of bee on the other side of the wall?
I mean, I honestly would feel a sense of comfort from that. Because if you think about it, you have this life essence, this energy that's buzzing behind the wall. And honestly, they're pollinating probably like the 3 neighborhoods around there. And super important. So do they go to relocate this thing? Do they they try to save these bees, obviously, right?
Yeah, they were able to yank it out. It was 100 pounds in weight. That's a big colony.
Okay.
That's a massive colony. I don't know exactly what they did with it, but they were able to get it out of there, and it ended up resulting in around a $20,000 home repair.
Oh, wow.
When it was all said and done.
Okay, and I bet your insurance didn't cover that.
I don't think homeowners insurance would cover bees in the wall. I mean,
No.
what would that fall under?
A natural act?
Yeah, well, I guess it would. It would be like comprehensive. Like if a tree fell on your house, that's covered.
An act of God is what they call it?
An act of God? Is bees in the wall?
Yeah, do they cover acts of God?
What if you were able to like pioneer a little hole in the wall and get you some honey? Get that sweet hit at night.
You got a straw that you put up in it.
It's
just
leaking in.
You have like a little turn valve to drip or drop it.
That's how we do up in New England with the maple trees. Is they put the taps in the maple tree, and the maples will run off into the bucket, and that's how they make the maple syrup.
See, that's where the homeowner fucked up. They could have had honey for life, bro, and they didn't do that.
Well, I mean, what are you supposed to do? Just leave this massive hive behind your wall? I mean, it's obviously doing structural damage to the wall. Right?
Was it?
Well, I mean, if it resulted in $20,000 in damage, that can't just be from pulling the drywall down.
I mean, that's a good point.
You know?
I don't know, because they use the bathroom and stuff, and they're like, I don't know how bees would damage the walls over time. Like,
yeah,
I know termites are no good, but that's
Termites.
interesting.
Yeah, so pretty interesting article there.
And I love the bees. I know way too much about bees, and that's because my mama was a beekeeper for a little bit of time. And one little saying, if they're shiny, watch their hiney. If they're furry, no need to worry.
I'm glad that made a come around on Happy Friday America now. I think we've heard that on another show at another time. Yeah, because your mom taught me not to wear black. Was it black?
Yeah, because it makes me think about bears.
Yeah, they think about bears, so I can't be showing up with the full send shirt on. Bees ain't having it. But pretty crazy story. And
What we got happening this weekend?
That's how we're going to end our stories this week. There's some great stuff going on this weekend. The Shaky Knees Music Festival is going on down there in Hotlanta, Georgia. So it's music festival season, right? There's going to be music festivals going on. There's what's going on in Little Rock?
Little Rock Comedy Festival. So you're looking for some laughs, you're looking to do some knee slaps, go to Little Rock, baby. They're getting it in.
Oh, yeah. Good old Little Rock. And, of course, Sunday is Cinco de Mayo. So there's going to be a lot of Cinco parties going on. May the 4th, tomorrow on Saturday. Just a jam-packed weekend. Do you celebrate Cinco?
I will definitely celebrate Cinco. I want to do nothing in my celebration.
You're going to have yourself a taco, a burrito, or a margarita?
I'll probably go for maybe a churro.
Oh, I do like the churros.
Something sweet as a celebration.
Yeah, that does sound pretty good.
And where's MTG going to get some coverage? Actually, you're going to have boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground, mash the gas, baby. I'm out in Kansas City. I'm on an airplane probably as you're watching this. I'm heading out there all weekend for the Saturday and the Sunday Cup race. It should be fantastic. I think Denny Hamlin's going to win this thing. But if you're in the Kansas City area, you've never been to a race, go check this out. It's my personal favorite racetrack in the country. Puts on a great show. The food is fantastic. The people are there to party. Kansas City, here I come.
He's coming, and thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Happy Friday America. We hope you have the very best day, a fantastic time. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook at Happy Friday USA, Twitter/X, Happy FRI USA, Happy Fry USA, and if you want to send us an email, that's happyfridayamerica@gmail.com. You know who's going to bring us out. Let's go.